This course is presented to you free of charge by TTJ Tech Services of www.ttjtech.biz and by Stir It Up of www.stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U, not an I, so that's STURITUP.com. TTJ Tech Services and Stir It Up are pleased to offer this course to you, to the glory of God and to the benefit of all those who listen. And let's start. Praise God. Welcome once again to Voiceover in and out, session number 8 today. And we are excited to have all of you, whether you're joining us live in person right now, live in Zoom right now, I should say, or later on one of the podcast platforms, what have you. If you are joining us on YouTube, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our channel, so you'll always know when we upload new content. And we've got lots of new content coming out every week because all these sessions go up there. Now, this is session 8, and we are going to have an experience lab, but we have some further teaching to do because if you recall session 7, if you had a chance to listen to that one way or another, we were talking about the Messages app. And as trainer Sarah pointed out, there's so much to the Messages app. It is probably the most used app on the iPhone, truthfully. And you could just go on. And we need to keep things to a reasonable amount of time in order to get all the content covered. So there'll be things we probably don't go into great detail about, but there are some very specific things that I do want to show you today. And I want to start out by talking about, and let me get my original sound going because we're going to do lots of demos. And then we're going to get into an experience lab. But I want to start out by talking about how it is that we delete our messages if we do decide we want to do so. I mentioned the other day, I think, that...
Select no microphone done button.
There we go.
Speech off.
I mentioned the other day that I don't really delete my conversations typically. If you haven't had opportunity, you need to go back and listen to Monday's session for everything today to make sense to you, but hopefully most of you have. So what if you really do want to delete a conversation? And I think that's a useful tool we need to look at. And so I'm going to go into the Messages app.
One unread message.
And I will remind everybody, let's see, okay, here's a message that I have that's unread, and that's okay because we've shown you that before. If I decide that I really do want to delete an entire conversation, let's say here's a conversation that's not somebody in my contacts. It's a notification letting me know that a Walmart pickup order is ready for us for a curbside pickup. We'll do that tomorrow. Now let's pretend I want to delete that message. Anytime, and this goes back to these fundamentals and these predictable patterns, anytime you start exploring a new app, there are two things there's more than two, but right now, two things that I highly recommend that you do. One is to try the rotor to see if there's an actions rotor or other special rotor options and settings and items for that particular app, and see what's in the rotor. And the other thing is to try the long press gesture. You all remember the long press? It's a double tap and hold for voiceover users, or you could also do it as a triple tap usually. But in this case, you're going to find the rotor has a lot of useful things when your focus is in the list of conversations. So I'm not going to open this conversation by double tapping it. I'm simply going to swipe to it.
41646. Primary SIM, FYI, your Walmart curbside pickup is ready.
Okay, and so if I swipe up or down, these are the options I get. I'll be swiping up with one finger.
Drag item. Delete. Hide alerts. Mark as unread. Pin 41,600. Activate. Default.
And of course, activate would open the conversation as we did the other day, as we mentioned. Now, you know what pin is? We already talked about pinning your favorite and most important conversations. to the top of the list. And I think I told you you can have up to 9 pins, which I do in that list, and I showed that to you. The other options you might be interested in, the drag item, we're not really going to get into that right now. That's kind of not necessarily going to matter too much in most cases here. But the delete option, you heard that, so that's how you delete a conversation. It goes into your recently deleted items, and we'll show you where that is. Kind of already did show you where that is, but we'll remind you. And another one that you heard is marked as unread. And then there was something else. What was it? Oh, hide alerts. Yeah, praise God. That's the other one I wanted to talk about. So, hide alerts is very useful in situations where you don't want to get a notification every time that a message comes in a particular conversation. Think group chats, right? You got 17 people in a group and somebody suddenly starts talking and they're having conversation and you're trying to have family dinner or church or you're working or just some reason you don't want to be listening to tons of notifications right now. And sometimes they can get very verbose, right, when you have group messages and everybody's going back and forth in the group talking to each other. And that can be fun and it can be useful, but it can also be distracting if you're trying to do other things. So that's exactly the kind of use case that this hide alerts option is intended for. It mutes the conversation notifications just for that particular conversation. So, you still get the messages. If you were to look at the conversation, it would say that it has unread messages. If you were to open it up, you could read them. But it's just that you're not going to be notified every time somebody sends a message to that conversation. Now, there is such a thing in Apple Messages called mentions. And mentions will occur anytime somebody mentions you by name. And if they want to be absolutely sure that it's a proper mention, they can put the hashtag in front of it. But a lot of times they don't even have to. There's a rotor option to go through the mentions. You'll hear VoiceOver say, use the rotor to access mentions, misspelled words. Well, mentions, that's what that is when somebody's mentioning somebody by name, typically either with or without a hashtag. You would have to do it, the way that it's in the conversation. But here's the thing. If you are mentioned like that, then you will get notified even if the conversation is muted. You can change that under your settings, but or maybe it's under the message details. I'm going to look in a minute because I'm going to show you that anyway. It's in one of those two places. Now I'm forgetting, to be honest with you, which one it's in, but we'll know very shortly. I think it's under the details. But anyhow, by default, if you mute a conversation, then the notifications are silenced unless somebody mentions you, and then you will get notified. And of course, once you hide the alerts, you can always unhide them later in the same way from the rotor there. I think it'll say show alerts instead of hide or something like that. And this is something that sighted folks have done sometimes inadvertently, and they'll come and say, I'm not getting any messages from so-and-so. The messages are there, but I'm not getting notified. And there looks to be this little like moon icon or something next to their conversation. Well, that's why. They've accidentally hidden or silenced the alerts for that particular conversation. So that's how you do that. That's when you might want to do it, and that's remembering to undo it if you need to. Now I'm going to look at so you also saw how to delete a message there then, right? Because it was in the rotor. Once you find it, you just double tap and you go up to delete, swipe up to delete and then or down and then double tap. And that will put it in the recently deleted items section for up to 30 days. And you can find that from filter. Remember this?
Edit, messages, filter, button.
If we pick filter,
selected, messages, spam, recently deleted, button.
We can pick recently deleted.
Recently delete, dismiss context, recently deleted, heading.
Now let's take a look around here.
Selected, filter, button, conversations, +1. Okay. Conversations show the days remaining before deletion.
Right.
After that time, messages will be permanently deleted. This may take up to 40 days.
Oh, it's 40, not 30. So it says conversations show the number of days remaining until they're deleted. So like if I find a particular, here's one right here.
Marshall, primary SIM, 35 messages, 1 day.
And there's 35 messages with that person, and 1 day until they're deleted. Now, you notice it doesn't read the contents of that conversation. And if you double tap it, it doesn't open the conversation. Instead, what it does is select it. Listen, let me find one.
+1 814 selected +1 8.
Notice now it's selected. I look through the list.
+1 832 selected +1 81.
Okay. So you'll notice that I've selected it. Double tapping it selects it, or
selected +1
deselects it. And once you've decided, do you want to select something in here or not, look at the very bottom of the screen, right-hand side.
Delete button.
And there's a delete button.
Delete
and just
button.
To the left of that delete button, one swipe over to the left,
Recover all button.
We'll say recover. Now, it happens to say recover all right now because I deselected that item. So here's the way this works. It's a little bit different than, we've talked about going in and selecting multiple messages or multiple items, in a multi-select interface. This kind of already is the multi-select interface, so it's a little bit different. But when you have something selected, the delete and recover buttons will only delete or recover the things that are selected. And when you do not have anything selected, the delete and recover buttons at the bottom will delete or recover everything in the recently deleted folder. So that's how deleted messages work. We don't have to do anything. They'll just disappear eventually. Let's go back to filter.
Selected.
And
messages.
Go back
button.
to the standard with no filter applied, I
messages.
suppose. Just back to messages.
Edit button.
All right, so we've shown you the rotor, how to delete, how to access your deleted items and recover them or delete them permanently if you want to. Now let's look at a long press on one of these conversations here.
Conversations. Fred pinned.
All right, let's long press on this message with my friend Fred.
Unpin button.
Okay.
Preview the left unpin button. Mark as unread button. Hide alerts button. Delete. Dismiss context menu. Button.
Notice that the options here
Edit.
are essentially the same as what is in the rotor. Now, don't get too comfortable with that principle because it doesn't always apply. There are plenty of times where the long press menu will have significantly more items in it than the rotor will, because the rotor tends to have like the most common items, and not always will it be everything that's in the long press. So I always encourage people to check both. And in this particular case, they happen to be about the same. Now, we're going to next look at, I want to go back into a conversation now, and I want to show you a couple of the iMessage apps, as they're known, that we discussed very briefly on Monday, but didn't really demonstrate. So let's go back into our instructor chat.
Megan, Pitt, Lex, Pam, Jeff, Jewel, TTJ, TTJ instructor chat, law.
Okay,
Messages.
I've double tapped that. I'm inside the conversation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a message to be sent to to Sarah and Cliff, because I talked a lot about that being one of my favorite features on Monday. And so I want to actually demonstrate it. So let's...
Message, iMessage, insertion message, cap A watts, G S space K I D is A space S H E D U L E D M E add button. Message.
I said, hey guys, this is a scheduled message.
Message, text field, is editing. Hey guys. This is a scheduled message. And character mode, insertion.
By the way, I actually scheduled a message to them this morning to arrive at 9 a.m. I did it last night. Now, the way you do that, you can either schedule it before or after you type the message. I like to do it after. And I swipe, instead of swiping to the right to the send button, I'm going to swipe to the left of the edit field to the add button. And for our sighted folks, it's a plus sign.
Add button.
And this is going to bring up the app drawer.
Add. Camera.
You heard a little sound there indicating that there's a pop-up. And the first option you have is camera. Now, this is how you can use the camera right from within the Messages app. We're going to learn about the camera later on in the course, but you can use the camera right from within the Messages app to take a photo or video and immediately attach it to the current conversation. Let's swipe to the right and see what else we might find in here.
Photos.
Okay.
Double tap and hold, then drag to reorder menu items.
Notice you can reorder the way that these appear also, and we're not going to do that right now, but the next one was photos. So what this is this is one way, not the only way, but it's one way to attach an existing photo or video to a message, conversation. The first one was the camera. This one is your existing photo library. Now, I say it's one way. The other way to do it is from the Photos app. You're going to learn soon in this class that many apps have what are known as share sheets. And share sheets are special menus within a good portion of our apps that offer numerous ways to share particular items with other people, to open those items in other apps, to save them to files, and so on. And so there's a share sheet in the Photos app, of course. And that's the other way to share a photo in a message, is to use the Photos app itself. But Photos here will give you access to your photo library. And sometimes it's a bit customized and will show relevant photos to the conversation and things of that nature, more prominently. But it does allow access to your full photo library. So that's Photos. Next.
Stickers.
Stickers are a lot of fun, and some of them VoiceOver will describe them to you, I believe. And I haven't used them in a while, but I have used them. And you can put fun little stickers in your messages, message conversations.
Apple Cash.
Apple Cash. We talked about that the other day. So Apple Cash allows us to send and receive money directly in the iMessage app. Now, in order for that to work, you have to have Apple Cash set up. We will talk about that later in this course, probably on a special session. Occasionally, we may do a Tuesday. We have Tuesdays with TTJ. We may use Tuesdays for things like that may not be necessarily part of the main VoiceOver course, but that are related, and you'll want to attend if you can. But Apple Cash is a very powerful, very useful tool because it allows us to send and receive money. And one of the nicest things about Apple Cash is that there's no fees. Let's just put it that way. If you do an instant transfer to your bank once somebody has sent you money, then there's a slight fee. But if you do a standard transfer that can take 1 to 3 business days, there's no fee. And there's no fee to send. Unlike some of the competition out there, where they, if you send somebody $20, they're only going to receive, $17.50 or something. No, there's no fee to send Apple Cash. There's extremely high limits. I think maybe the daily limit, if I'm not mistaken, is like $10,000 or something. So it's, a crazy amount that you can send and receive. Basically, I could have the amount wrong, I'll be honest, but I think that's what it is. But anyway, so this Apple Cash button allows you to use the Messages app. Again, it's not the only way to do it, but it's one way, and you can send money, and you can even do this in groups now as of iOS 26, as long as they're all Apple users.
Polls.
Next, polls.
Tap and hold.
Polls are a lot of fun, and I think we'll create one here maybe. I have to weigh how much time we have, for the lab and everything, but I think we should maybe we should have you create a poll, but I'll have to show it to you probably. All right, next. Audio. So,
tap and hold.
All right, audio versus dictation. If you are in an edit field, you can dictate with the magic tap or the microphone button that VoiceOver calls dictate, and you can speak and it turns that into written text. But this audio button allows you to actually record your voice in a message. So you'll double tap this and then you'll start speaking, and then there'll be a stop button. You can double tap. Usually your focus is already on it. So if it really matters to you, you can mute your speech and then just double tap with one finger when you're done speaking. And that way there's no VoiceOver sounds in the audio recording. But, on the other hand, I usually don't even bother with that because people understand that these are not, this is not meant to be professional studio recordings. This is, hey, how you doing? What are we going to do for lunch? That kind of thing. Just real simple audio instead of, and you can use SIRI, of course, to send messages. You say, send a message to the TTJ, what do we call it? Instructor chat or whatever that conversation we've named it, and it'll say, what do you want to say, and you can speak it, and that will come as written text just like dictation. Okay, but you can also say send an audio message to so and so, and it will record your voice then, and it'll come as audio. Now, when you send audio this way, that's different from like attaching an audio file. This is actually embedded into the message conversation. And when people receive it, they can listen to it and they can then choose to keep it. If they don't keep it, it's going to expire and disappear. But they can choose to keep it, and there'll be a keep button. So this is the audio option. All right. Again, all you do is you double tap that button and start speaking, and double tap again to stop. Once you've recorded it, you can play it back. If you don't like it, you can delete it and go have another go at it, or you can send the message. All right, next.
Send later.
There's the one. Send later. And let's just look what else.
Genmoji. Image Playground. Store.
All right, and then there's a whole bunch more if I keep swiping to the right from my third-party apps, but maybe even some first-party apps. But let me just comment on Genmoji and Image Playground. These are Apple Intelligence features that Image Playground, for example, allows you to describe. Like I made an image of a dog eating a slice of pizza. I made another image of a dog covered in soap bubbles, like taking a bath. And I've done other things. And so what happens is you just describe it with words and it generates an image. Genmoji is essentially the same thing, except it's generating emojis and not images. The images that are generated by these Image Playground and so forth are either like animated, or they look like drawn, hand-drawn kinds of things, or sketched images. Apple has taken very, very serious steps to not make this look real, so that you can't fake somebody, with AI, essentially. So if you choose a person, because you can choose a person or I think a pet as a basis for your Image Playground description, it'll give you choices. But it's going to not actually use that person's photo. It's going to just use a likeness that will look animated or sketched or, hand drawn or whatever. And so very, very important to understand that it's not, designed to trick people. It's designed to have fun with. And you can describe images, and then, like I say, you can pick a person to base those images on. You can pick a scene. They have different scenes in there. Play with this yourself and have fun with it. And the other one that you didn't hear yet, because I think it's to the right further.
Pinterest. TikTok. Verizon. Game Pigeon. Location. Hashtag images. Bible. Check-in. Digital Touch. Fandango. Fly Delta. Food Network. Memoji. Music. Open Table.
Okay, so you can see that there's tons of these, and as I said, there is a mix of third party and first party. I'm not sure how the order got to be what it is, and again, you can drag and reorder these, but it doesn't really matter to me. But however the order got to be the way that it is, I've got a mix of Apple ones and third party ones. So some of those are Apple. For example, Digital Touch. I told you about Digital Touch on Monday. It's the one where you can send like your heartbeat to someone and those kinds of things. Music is the Apple Music app. You can send them the song you're listening to. What's the other first party one? Check-in. I told you about that one. You can let people know when you've arrived at a specific location. Memoji is another one where you can use either your own. You can create a person. Again, it's all kind of animated, whatever. But you can create a person, the eyebrows, the hair, other animals like a dinosaur, a chicken, a robot, different things. And then what you do is you actually make facial expressions, and those facial expressions become part of that dinosaur or that chicken or that drawn person that you've created. And essentially, you can do photo stickers or videos with that, and that's Memoji. There was another first party one, I think. Hashtag images, I think, is a first party one that has to do with using different, again, like image sticker kinds of things.
Digital check-in.
There was another one I thought.
Bible. Hashtag images. Location.
Oh,
Hold.
location just means you can send your location in a message. There's other ways to do that too. And then you heard a lot of third-party ones: Bible, Open Table, TikTok. There were tons of them that are based on the apps that I have installed on my iPhone. And so all of your devices, will have these depending on what apps you have. So this is kind of the way that the iMessage apps work. You just pick the one you want, and then near the bottom of the screen will be the app that you've selected. So I'm going to pick send later way back here.
Polls, audio, send later.
And I don't know what,
Double
let
tap
me
and
actually
hold.
see first what time it is.
2:28.
All right, it's 2:28, so let's schedule this message to come in at like 2:30 or 2:32 or something.
Dynamic Island
So,
Store. All polls. Send later. Send later.
Now at
One
the,
unread. Back button.
now it's important to understand my message conversation is still here, but at the bottom of the screen is this app. I'll touch the bottom middle.
7 o'clock. Selected. Picker item.
Let's swipe to the left.
Today. Picker item.
Okay, so this is a picker. You just swipe up and down to change its value. The day is correct. I want it to come in today. But let's swipe to the right. I don't want it at 7.
7 o'clock. Selected.
Let's
Picker.
swipe down a few times.
4, 3 o'clock. 2 o'clock. 2 of 12.
And
Selected.
let's swipe to the right.
30 minutes.
Let's go up to 32 or 33 just to make sure.
32 minutes.
And
33 of 6
Now listen.
p.m. Selected. 33 minutes. Selected. Picker item. Adjustable. 34 of 60.
To the right.
p.m. Selected. Picker item. Adjustable.
It's already set to p.m., which is what we want. You swipe down for a.m. Go back to the left.
p.m. Selected. Selected. Picker item. 2 o'clock. 33 minutes. 2 o'clock. Today. Picker item. Send. Button.
And double tap send.
Send. Dictate. Button.
Now you heard that little sound. That's different than the normal send sound. But that means it's scheduled. Down here at the bottom.
33 minutes.
My pickers are still up here, so I'm going to scrub out. And now.
One unread. Back button. Your iMessage. Hey guys. Send later.
There's the send later. And if I double tap on the button to the right of that, you'll notice that I can
Sarah today. You send later.
I can see some options.
Send message button.
Send it right now.
Edit time button.
Edit the time.
Delete message button.
Delete it.
Dismiss context menu.
Or
button.
dismiss the context menu.
Messages.
Now what if I actually want to edit the text of the message that I have scheduled to send? That requires you to long press on the message.
Sarah today. You send your iMessage. Hey guys. This is a scheduled message.
If I double tap on that, if I long press on that, it's going to give me the option to edit the text of it, just like the one I demonstrated on Monday that I said you have 20 minutes to edit up to 5 times. Well, it's not even sent yet, so you could edit the text of it that way. But you have to get that from the long press menu and choose edit, right? That other button next to the time, or next to the send later, only allows you to edit the time that it's sent and those kinds of things, or to send it immediately now. So this is going to send, and because these are stored temporarily in iCloud, you don't even have to have your device on or anything. This is going to send at the scheduled time unless you cancel it. So this is such a handy feature, and it's almost
2:31 p.m.
almost time for that message to send. And I'm also going to demonstrate now a very quick poll, and I'm going to ask the group here their favorite ice cream flavor. Now, I'm only going to pick, just for the sake of time, I'm only going to do chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry, but they might decide they want to add an additional item to the poll, and they can do that. So let's create a poll. We're going to go to the apps button again.
Sarah, your verticals, your add button, today, add button, add.
The add button, and
Camera.
let's choose polls this time.
Add polls. Poll. Alert. Item not supported.
Okay, why is the item not supported?
Item is not supported to send later.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, because, why? Because you can't do a
Messages.
poll and send later, I guess. Interesting. Well, I could change that, but you know what? I'll just wait.
2:32.
And because it's about to send that message anyway, and then it won't matter. I think I had it set for 2:33. So as soon as that happens, I'll create the poll. But the way that it works is it's going to give me edit fields for answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, whatever. And then I'll just, as many as you want, it'll just keep creating them for you. And then I'll use the regular message edit field to add a comment, which will be, what is your favorite ice cream flavor, or something like that. So that's how you create the poll. But I will show that to you in just a moment. Now, let's see if it's time yet here.
Messages. 2:33 p.m. Dynamic Island. Sarah to your iMessage. Hey guys. Vertical scroll bar.
Yep, it should be good now.
Add button. Add.
All right, praise God. Let's check.
App poll on polls.
Here we go.
Alert.
Okay.
Biden
Now
is not okay.
why is it not?
Mess today 2:34 p.m.
No.
Button close.
I want to close that. It still had the
message. Today too close.
It still had
message. Add but messages. Your iMessage. Add mess. Add.
I think
button.
it should now not want to send it later anymore. It should be okay because
double tap and hold.
Yeah, there we go.
Poll.
Okay.
Choice 1. Text field.
Notice
is editing. Insertion point.
I'm in the field for choice 1. So let's call choice 1 strawberry.
Cap STRAWBERY.
Now up above the keyboard on the screen, let's tap near the middle.
Strawberry. Choice 2. Text field.
Double tap.
Double tap insertion point at end.
That's going to be chocolate.
Caps HOCKT. Chocolate. Space.
Okay, there we go. And let's tap up above.
Chocolate. Text field is editing.
So.
Strawberry. Text field. Text field is editing. Chocolate. Choice 3. Text field.
Let's do
insertion
vanilla.
Point. VANILA. Space.
Now, notice.
Poll. Strawberry. Chocolate. Text field is editing. Vanilla. Choice 4. Text field.
It's now put a 4th choice in there, but we're not going to use that. We're going to go
message, add comment or send. Text field.
To the right, we're going to add that comment. Double tap there, and I'm just going to put
insertion point at end.
Favorite ice cream flavor.
KOOT space favorite ice cream iced.
Oops.
Space.
I thought it would autocorrect. And what it did is it decided
ice cream. FLABOR. Flavor. Question mark.
Okay, let's look.
Choice remove. Message. Text.
Notice the rotor on these. You can remove a choice.
Poll. Choice 4. Remove. Activate.
But.
Message. Text field is editing. Favorite ice cream flavor.
And then.
Send. Button.
We're going to send that.
Send. Dictate.
Okay.
Button.
Let's see what it looks like.
Poll. Vanilla. Today too. Your iMessage. Hey guys. This is a scheduled message.
Now go to the right.
Poll. Strawberry. 0 votes. Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate.
The custom
content available.
The custom actions.
Poll details. Sarah's typing. Reply. Attach sticker. Undo send. More. Activate.
All those
Default.
choices. Sarah's voting. Let's go to the right.
Chocolate. 0 votes. Vanilla. 0 votes. Messages. Replay. Your iMessage. Favorite ice cream flavor? 2:35. Buddy is typing.
All right, we'll wait to see what's
Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate.
We'll wait to see what she does, and then I'll vote also. And as I say, she could choose to add her own because that is a possibility. But looks like she might still.
Buddy is typing. Swipe up or down to select a custom action, then double tap to activate. Sarah stop typing. Message received from Sarah. Sent a poll. Poll. Strawberry. 0 votes. More contact messages. Your iMessage. Chocolate. 0 votes. Vanilla. 0 votes. Chocolate. 0 strawberry. 0 votes. Replay. Vertical.
Okay.
Poll. Mint chocolate chip. 0 votes.
Notice what she did? She added her own choice. Mint chocolate chip. And so that is her favorite of the, she put her own in there instead of picking one of those 3. Now I'm going to go ahead and vote for one of the 3 by just double tapping on it.
Strawberry. 0 strawberry. More content available. Poll. Mint chocolate chip. Vanilla. Chocolate. Selected. Strawberry. 1 vote.
So there's 1 vote for strawberry, and then there's 1 for she put her own choice, mint chocolate chip, and there's a button just to the right of your poll choices, and you can add your own your own flavor selection there. So that's how easy it is to create a poll. As I said, there's no way I can show you all of these iMessage apps, but you play with them on your own time. All right, there's one more thing I want to show you right now. And that is the conversation details I told you about a few minutes ago. This is important because it's especially useful in groups. It can be useful in individual conversations too, but especially in groups. You remember how to create a group, right? You double tap the compose button, you type the first few letters of the first person's name, You look up above and double tap on the search result that you want, and then you just repeat the process. Start typing another name, double tap the result, start typing another name, double tap the result. And the only exception to this is if you type a phone number of someone that's not in your contacts, you have to press return after you type that phone number. But that's only if they're not already in your contacts. Otherwise, there's no commas, no, nothing. You don't need to do any of that. It just puts them in there. Now, if you type somebody's name and you find that it's the wrong, like maybe you have 3 phone numbers for that person and it's trying to send the message to their home instead of their iPhone or something, once you double tap on the result, you'll be able to change it by, you'll see the added name to the right of the to field. And if you swipe up and down on that, there'll be an option to show alternate items. So you can pick a different contact method at that point if you need to. But once you have this, I want to show you with an existing conversation now how to access a lot of additional features and information about the conversation. This has actually got a lot of useful stuff in it. If you tap the upper right corner, so I'm inside of this group chat, and the upper right corner has
FaceTime button.
a FaceTime button. That button allows me to immediately start a group FaceTime call with this group, or if it's just one person, it would start, an individual FaceTime call. And you can pick FaceTime audio, or you can pick regular FaceTime, which includes video. We've not talked a whole lot about FaceTime, but it's actually a very powerful and very useful feature. Now, FaceTime audio is actually my favorite way to talk to people rather than traditional phone calling because the audio quality is just superb. FaceTime audio works over Wi-Fi and cellular, but if you're on cellular, it's going to use your cellular data, not your plan minutes if there are any minutes, or if it's, unlimited calling, whatever. That doesn't count because it's a data service, so it's going to use data for FaceTime audio and FaceTime video. But it'll also use Wi-Fi, of course, if you're on that. That's part of why the quality is so good, too. It's end-to-end encrypted, it's very secure, and there's so many features while you're on a FaceTime call. You can send filters and emojis and take, pictures during FaceTime and flip cameras to show people, other things. And you can use Share Play, which allows you to watch movies and shows together over FaceTime. You can play games together over FaceTime. You can share your screen over FaceTime, including the device audio. And there's just so many things you can do with FaceTime. And in a group, you can make group FaceTime calls with up to 32 participants. Now, at one point, I thought that I heard that number was expanded to 64, but I've never been able to confirm that. The documentation I looked at still said 32, so I don't know, but I don't think I've ever even had 32 in a FaceTime recently. You do a handful of people, and there's multiple ways to start or join a FaceTime call, a group FaceTime call. But one of the ways is right here with this button from within the message conversation. So that's very, very convenient, and it's an easy way to immediately turn a group conversation into a FaceTime call. Now, the only way this is going to work is if everybody in the group is an Apple user. If you happen to have other users as well, like Android or something, it's a little more complex to create a FaceTime for the group. It can be done. But what you have to do is you've got to use the FaceTime app to create a link that people can use, and then they can join from a web browser, and that will work just fine. But again, if they're all Apple users, you don't even need to be concerned about that. So that's the FaceTime button at the upper right. Now let's go one more time to the right.
Messages. You sent a poll. FaceTime. TTJ instructor chat button.
There it is. Now,
double tap for additional contact options.
Okay, that button is either going to say the name of the conversation, in this case, because we've named it, or it's going to say the name of the person you are messaging, or as a last resort, if it doesn't know their name from contacts, then it's going to say their phone number. So, for example, let's get out of this conversation.
One unread, back button.
Let's go into
Edit.
another conversation
Pamela C. Lee.
where it's just one,
Lexi.
where it's one person's name.
TTJ and Megan pinned.
All right, let's go into this
Actions
conversation.
available.
Now notice
Messages. Megan.
up at the upper right,
FaceTime button.
and now one swipe to the right says
Megan Bedford PA button.
all right, it tells me her location because she shared that with me, and it tells me her name, and it's the same button. It's just it doesn't say the group name because there is none. All right, so going back to our instructor group.
One unread. Connect TTJ instructor. One unread. Poll selected.
Up here.
FaceTime. TTJ instructor chat button.
Now let's double tap it.
Back button.
First thing you're going to see is a back button at the upper left. Predictable patterns, right?
Back.
Go to the
button.
right.
Edit button.
There's an edit button.
TTJ instructor chat. Call button.
You can call that group with a
Video button.
video FaceTime.
Mail button.
Send them an email.
Selected. Info.
Now, we have a couple of options here. Info is selected. Go to the right.
Backgrounds.
Backgrounds.
Button. Links.
Links.
Cliff button.
And then that's it. Info, backgrounds, and links. And we'll look at what each of those does soon. But now let's go to the right and see each person in the group is listed here.
Cliff button. Sarah button.
And if I double tap those, it's going to show me additional contact details for that particular person. All right, so that's how you can see who's in the group and get more information about them. If we go to the right again,
Add button.
there's an add button because maybe I want to add another person to this group. And that's how I do that. I hit the add button and it's going to give me the option to add more people. Now, as I mentioned on Monday, that is a bit dicey when you are using, or maybe it was during the help session yesterday, I don't know. If you have a mix of Apple and non-Apple, like Android users, that doesn't always work. A lot of times what it ends up doing is creating a new conversation. But in all Apple groups, it definitely does work. You can add and remove people anytime. And people can remove themselves as well. Okay, go to the right.
Conversation line, primary button.
It's telling I'm using my primary eSIM for that.
Hide alerts, switched button, off.
Okay, that's another way.
Double tap to toggle setting.
Remember we talked about that before. So within the conversation details, that's another way to hide the alerts for this particular conversation. Go to the right.
Show and shared with you, switched button, on.
Okay.
Double tap to toggle setting.
So shared with you is a feature that allows things that you share within a conversation to appear in the relevant apps. In other words, let me give you an example. Let's suppose that I send Cliff and Sarah a news article about something Apple just announced. And then tomorrow, maybe Sarah sends us a recipe that she found in Safari or in another, in a recipe app or something. And maybe we send a song in the music app or, a link to a show in the TV app or something. The issue used to be if you didn't immediately take action on whatever was shared, you could easily forget. And you go back later and say, I know they shared that with me, but when was that? And what did they share? Well, now what happens is it shows up in the corresponding app. So if I send Sarah and Cliff that news article, when they open the news app, they're going to have a section in there called Shared with You. And it's going to say, from Matthew. It's going to show that I sent them this article. And if Sarah sends me that recipe, it's going to show up in Safari in a special Shared with You section. Same thing with music and the TV and so on. So that's what Show in Shared with You has to do with. And then we'll go to the right again.
Automatically translate, switched button, off.
Okay.
Double tap to toggle setting.
If we want to translate, somebody in this conversation speaks a different language, they can type in their native language and we can read it in English or vice versa. And I've tested that and it works very, very well. Let's go to the right.
Leave this conversation. Dimmed button.
And there's the button that you can leave the conversation. Now,
turn on contact key verification. All iMessage conversations are encrypted end-to-end, so they can't be read while they're sent between devices.
Okay.
All iMessage.
And we're not going to deal with contact key verification. That's not something I think that most of our users will be affected by or will need. Now, the top of this, you might remember, had info, links, and it had backgrounds. So there is a gallery if you choose links. And I think if I'm remembering correctly, if you've sent attachments, that is another separate button, or maybe it's under links. I had thought there was a separate one when people send documents and stuff, but I think it's just that we haven't sent any documents back and forth in that way as messages. I mean, we have a shared folder and a shared notes folder, but I don't think we've used messages to send those, at least not since we've started this group conversation, because all three of us are already in the shared folders and stuff. So if you did, they would show up there. But we do have links. So let's go up to the top.
Selected. Info. Backgrounds. Links.
Look at links first and then come back to backgrounds.
Selected. Links.
Now to the right, you're still going to have
Image. Beach/road trips. Matthew Volbrecht. Apple Music. Adult. Image and 40 plus tips for the Mail app on your iPhone, iPad, and Mac. iDownloadBlog.com. iDownloadBlog.com.
So what this is, there's a couple of links here. I shared a playlist with this group that I created, or my family and I collaborate on, and it's our, like we call it, beach/road trips. We use it when we're going to the beach or just other places, or spring cleaning, all kinds of stuff. It's our go-to playlist. It's got hundreds of songs from oldies and gospel and country and all sorts of stuff. And so I shared that with this group, and then somebody shared a link to 40 plus tips. I think that was Cliff, for mail, and that was the other link you had there. So again, instead of having to say, well, when did they send that link? Or if we had documents, when did they send that document? Or if we had photos, when did they send that photo? All of those things would be choices in the gallery. You'd be able to find them all put together here instead of having to scroll through the conversation to find those. All right, and then lastly, let me go back to backgrounds here. Backgrounds.
Backgrounds. Button. Selected. Backgrounds.
And let's go to the right. And what this is going to do is let me assign a background to the conversation that everybody in the group can see.
Links. Selected. None. Button. Photo. Button. Color. Button. Playground. Button.
We can use playground to create one. We can use an existing photo. We can pick a color. Let's go to the right.
Sky. Button. Water. Button. Aurora. Button. Suggestions. Heading.
And so sky, water, and aurora, you can pick those. And then there's a list of suggestions here.
Button. Image and illustration of a canyon with a logo in front of it. Button. Image. A red balloon in front of a body of water. Button. Image. A body of water under a cloudy sky. Button. Image. A tree under a cloudy sky. Button. Image. A hammock hanging from a tree in a park.
Oh, let's do that. Let's put a hammock hanging from a tree in a park. Let's select that.
Cancel. Done. But more. But natural. Natural. Page 1 of 4. Image. A blue circle with white text in front of an image of a person. SP.
Oh, okay.
TTJ instructor. Message. Message.
So I think what that's actually doing, I think that's the playground feature. So instead, I could use that, but it might take me a little more time to get it the way I want it. So instead, let's just pick one of these. Let's pick Aurora.
Cancel. Cancel.
Okay.
Green. Green. Page 1 of 3. Adjustable.
What other color can I use?
Sweat purple. Page 2 of 3. Pink. Page 3 of 3.
Oh, let's see. We said Aurora. Let's go with purple.
Purple. Purple. Done. Button. Done.
Hit done.
Image. A screenshot of a social media button.
Now,
image.
water.
Selected. Aurora.
That Aurora is now selected, okay? So if I now go back here.
Edit. Button.
To the
back button.
To the back button.
Image button. Message replay. Vertical scroll bar. Today 2:51 p.m.
And it shows that I've changed the background, and then that's the most recent thing we have. So it's cool because you can have different backgrounds for each individual message conversation. All right, so there's so much in messages, and we really do need to get to our
2:52
lab here momentarily. There's one more thing I do want to show you, and that is, what if I receive a link in a message conversation? How do I double tap on it to select it? Because when I double tap on the message that has the link in it, nothing happens. And the answer to that is you've got to focus, you've got to turn the rotor to links. Let me see very quickly if I have one that I can find. Probably in my Walmart message, there's a link. I'm not going to actually click on it because I don't know what it'll do unless I read the whole message. But let's just
if you did not stop a report
and
spam
notice this
button.
too.
If you did not expect this message from an unknown sender, it may be spam. Stop a report spam button.
Well, it's not spam.
41,646. FYI, your Walmart curbside pickup is ready. For faster pickup, let us know you're on the way. HTTPS /
Yeah, there's that link. So what I cannot do is just double tap this. But if I turn the rotor to the left here,
links.
There's links. I swipe down.
HTTPS / w-mt.co.
Now I can double tap on that and it will activate that link. I'm not going to do that because I'm not at Walmart right now, but that's how that is done. There's so much more that you can do, my friends. Not only with the message apps, but you can forward message conversation or individual messages. You can delete individual messages within a conversation. You can select text from a message. So you can copy an entire message that somebody sent you. Or you can select a few words from that conversation now and copy them. All of these options work with VoiceOver, and it's just there's no possible way we can teach every feature. So I'm encouraging you to use your fundamentals and to explore. Now I'm going to unmute Sarah. She and I are going to talk for a minute or two, and we're going to introduce the lab as well. Let me stop the original. Well, yeah. In fact, let me do this. Let me get Sarah unmuted here.
And more.
And we
Host to polls.
will
Show audio settings. Mic noise remove.
Okay. Now let's get Sarah. And again, praise God, what a great crowd we've got here. He's brought us. Let's see. Almost to Sarah here. There she is. All right, praise God. Let's see. And you are now our
Hi, Matt.
co-host. How you doing? Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Doing well. Doing well.
I'm glad you covered the group chat and how you can edit in there because a lot of people I think it's exceedingly usable in today's life and a lot of people get confused by it. So I think it's
Right.
really good that we went into that.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's always the balance of are we teaching voiceover or are we teaching, features? But sometimes you want to teach both because it does help folks to see the process being done, and that I think is the case for
Yeah.
those groups because it's not hard, but sometimes there's multiple steps, and if you don't know it can be done, you never even look.
Also, if you go into it and it looks like it's daunting because there are too
Right.
many choices, then
Right.
you get right back out of it,
Right.
and freak out.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so it's nice to show that it's very doable by
Exactly.
us, and so yeah, it's not scary, and
Right.
you can't do much to mess up a group. I mean, you can, you can mess up a
Well,
group.
yeah. Yeah.
But you just recreate it.
Right. I mean, the worst thing you're gonna do is put somebody in it that shouldn't be in it, or remove someone that you wanted in it. Really, you know what I mean? It's not,
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, that's about it. And what I didn't even. I'm looking back now. I don't think I mentioned the the way that you actually name. Let me just tell everybody because it's in that place where we just were, but I think I just glossed over it and didn't even say anything. If how do you name a conversation? Because before it has a name, it's just going to read the names of the people, or it might say like 2 people or 7 people. But what happens there is that the way you name it is actually under that edit button, and I glossed over that. I said to you, oh, it says edit, but I never said under the edit button is where it says edit name. and it also has let me see. I guess you can do the you can edit the photo too. So here I've just double tapped on the edit button within those conversation details. All right, I already double tapped on the um the button that said TTJ instructor chat. Now I tapped on edit. I don't know if you can hear this because I disabled the original sound, but
Edit name and photo.
did
Yep.
you hear that? Okay. And that's where it
Yes.
says edit name and photo. And then there's other choices, edit background, and it has a bunch of back images here. But that was the key thing I wanted to show you because I just realized I forgot. And some people might be wondering, well, how do you name it? It's under you have to go to the conversation details, then you have to hit edit. And I just totally glossed over that before.
Yeah. And it shows that the text group is, super powerful, and FaceTime is also super powerful.
It sure is.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
not sure why it's an issue, but if you do it right, um, I think it's better to do the FaceTime calls from the text, because sometimes when you're doing FaceTime from the FaceTime app, it doesn't always, like if you're doing a group, it doesn't always, not everybody can pick it up, or it always seems to be a little bit iffy from there.
Yeah, I like doing it from messages best personally. As you say, it's not the only way. But I like to do it best from the messages conversation. Plus that way, like we always do with our instructor meetings, one of us will say, "Okay, ready whenever you are," and so I'm going to start in 5 minutes or whatever, and that
Right.
way you kind
Right.
of coordinate. And the thing is, and of course we can't, maybe we ought to demonstrate when we have our next meeting on Friday. We should make a recording of it for people because of course we can't really do it adequately on this call. But
Right.
when you start a or join a group FaceTime from the Messages app, it's a very interesting experience. And I don't know how you do it, Sarah, because what I do is once I start the FaceTime, there is a little FaceTime control screen that's kind of overlaying, but you still have the Messages app. So you're not getting all of the FaceTime controls there unless you go. There's two ways to do it. There's a button once you're on that call or you're in progress of making that call. There's a button that says open FaceTime, and that will bring you to the controls. The other way to do it is to go to the app switcher and pick the actual FaceTime video call from the app switcher instead of the Messages app. So that way, then you have access to all the controls to mute your audio, to stop or start the camera, to
Right.
look at the people. Because, like for example, if you make a FaceTime call,
Mm.
you can choose to ring somebody to remind them, hey, don't forget to join this call. And
Right.
so yeah, there's almost a two-step process there.
Right. But it did become easier because
Yes.
it didn't used to say open FaceTime.
No.
I mean,
No.
yes, you join FaceTime call is exactly up on the upper right where you start a
Yes.
FaceTime
Yes.
call, and it will take you directly into the app.
Right.
Um, which didn't used to be there. You'd have to go to the app. Um, but I think the only things that are really that important in the app is both to ping somebody,
Yep.
but also the mute.
Right,
Be-
right. In case you want to mute your audio. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And you're right. One of the things, and I've said this about like the Maps app and stuff in iOS 26 also, it just, in some cases, maybe, some people might see it as there's an extra step because they, hide some of the, to give you more screen real estate and everything. But the one thing I can say about VoiceOver with Maps, with FaceTime, and probably with some other things too, is it is more consistent than it's ever been. And that's
yeah,
exactly why I think FaceTime is easier. It's not that it was ever inaccessible or ever even hard, but it's just that now, like the process, and me, I always say, it's a God-given talent. I don't memorize steps anyway. But now for the first time in some of these things like Maps and FaceTime, I feel like there is something I can memorize. Like, okay, I start the FaceTime call, I hit open FaceTime, or I go to the app switcher, I go right here, and then I've got all my controls. You know what I mean? Like it's just
yeah.
very, very simple once you learn it.
Yeah, yeah. And the FaceTime sound has been for many years now, has been infinitely better than just a phone
Yes.
conversation
Yep. Yep.
as far as sound is
Oh,
concerned.
absolutely. The
Yeah.
audio quality, no doubt about it. Yes. And folks, there is a way you can enhance that even further. I didn't even get into this, and I don't want to spend much time because we got to get to the lab. But the control center, when you are on a call, FaceTime, regular phone, Zoom, any of these things, or when you're in a recording app like voice memos and GarageBand and so on, check the control center, which we taught you about a few weeks ago. And to the left of your airplane mode and all that stuff, you think that's the first icon in there. But to the left of that, one of the things you're going to hear is services in use, and it'll say like microphone or something like that. If you double tap that, you're going to have additional options. For example, voice isolation, where you can really just hear your voice and you eliminate all the background sounds. Or the other one, what's that one called? Wide spectrum, where
Standard and wide
standard and wide,
spectrum.
right.
Yeah.
And so wide spectrum then allows you to really focus on the background sounds. Maybe you're demonstrating your child is playing the piano or something. You want people to hear that on FaceTime. So you can choose the different options there. And if you have a video call on an iPad, you can use center stage, which kind of uses machine learning to keep you in focus even if you move out of focus a little bit. And so there's a lot of these things in the control center that people don't even realize are there. And so it's good to look at that.
Yeah. Never occurred to me to go up. I mean, I've done it for the voice isolation and everything, but not for much else, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yep. Yep. All right. So
thanks for joining today's session. Didn't get your question answered? Have an additional comment or feedback? Email us info@ttjtech.biz or info@stiritup.com. And remember, stir is spelled with a U. That's STURITUP.com. Or check out our websites for additional resources. That's ttjtech.biz or stiritup.com. And remember, subscribe to the newsletter when you're there. That way, you don't miss out on any upcoming announcements or events. Thanks for joining us. God bless, and see you next time.